Hi, my name is Dr. Michelle Maidenberg, and I am here with my daughter, Cora, and her friend, Ella. And
Best
they,
friend.
best friends, sorry, and they have been best friends since nursery school. They know each other for a really long time, since they're about 2 years old. So we're talking about how the coronavirus pandemic has impacted them as sixth graders. So probably speaks for a lot of middle schoolers. We're going to talk about loss. We're going to talk about, the impending future and how they're processing it all. So I'm going to start. So one thing about Cora, to know about Cora, she really loves basketball. She loves doing makeup. And Ella loves to sing, and she loves to cook, and she loves basketball as well. So I'm going to start out by asking some questions, okay? And we're going to hear from both Ella and Cora about their experiences. So the first thing is, with the pandemic, right, with the coronavirus pandemic coming up, there's been a lot of changes in both of your lives. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we're going to start out with school first, because about a week or two ago, we found out that you're going to keep on doing online learning from your homes, right? And I want to find out how it's been for you, first of all, to do the online learning at home, and how you feel about, them canceling school, for the rest of the school year. So who wants to talk first? Okay,
Oh,
go ahead, Ella.
Okay. So I feel that this pandemic has definitely changed our lives for the better, and it's changed our lives for a not good side.
Okay.
For the better, I will
And
say,
Ella, could you just speak up a little bit? Because
yeah, yeah,
okay,
sorry.
that's
For the better, I think it's made us more aware to be healthy and to be safe and stuff, and like to appreciate what you have in life and
mhm.
not what you get in life, what you have. And I think that one of the bad things is it could cause sickness and stuff like that. But um, I think that not having school and all that stuff is just hard on kids because, like, without having learning, you don't have like a proper schedule to follow by. You
Mm.
don't have a proper structure. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go to math class. Okay, now I have science next. But instead, you just have to look online or whatever you're doing, Zoom, and it explains it. So yes, it's very difficult to have that in your life. So that's what
So
I.
how has that been for you? Because you're talking about general kids, but how has that been for you?
It's been okay because my mom's been helping me a lot lately. She's been sitting with me every day doing all my subjects, and I have a lot of support on my plate. So I have people at school to help me. I have a bunch of people to help me, which is really really good because some kids don't exactly have
That's
that
true.
privilege to have that.
Hmm.
And I think that I'm very lucky. Yes, I am, and that to be in the situation, yes, it's hard, but at the same time, at least I'm healthy.
Hmm. So you're really looking at the positive side of
Yeah,
things, right? Which is really nice. And actually you're talking about kids who don't have as much support as you have, right? So
yeah.
like for example, in our house, right, Cora?
Mm-hmm.
I work and full time, and so does her dad, right? So does her dad. So she doesn't actually, she has a babysitter, or who lives with us, who's, been with us for almost 4 years, um, but she doesn't have as much support from us that you have from your mom, which you're really lucky, you're right. So Cora, how's that been for you? How's it been, the online
Um,
learning for you?
so it's definitely like different because in school I would have to walk building to building, which was definitely a big workout, and I guess it was fun because sometimes if I would need like a workout, all I could do is just walk to building. But now at home, all I have to do is press one button and I'm in my class.
Hmm.
So
So
it's definitely less of a challenge, but it's more boring because I like when it wasn't boring when it's a challenge.
yeah. So when it's boring, do you find how do you find that? Like that it's boring? Does it change the way you learn? Does it change the way, you're, I guess, motivated to learn?
Well, it's definitely different because it's not seeing them face to face. It's seeing them on a computer screen, which is more hard because usually we'd like to joke around in class, and it's just a little bit harder to do that seeing face to face. And some people get frozen sometimes, and that
Mm,
doesn't happen in school.
yeah.
But I'd rather be at school than online. It's way more hard because there's all these things in my room that I could just get up and get distracted with.
So do you find yourself sometimes getting distracted because
All
of
the
it?
time.
All the time? Yeah. You do too, Ella?
Oh my god, this is why my mom doesn't let me have my phone with me when I'm in classes, but I always like want to have my phone even though I know it's a distraction. But like, and let's say like I have a fuzzy pen over there, even if I was in class, I would just like reach for it and just start playing with it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of kids have that, right? Where it's very distracting.
Yeah, I mean, like I have these right here. I always just start playing with it and looking down at it for
Uh-huh.
no reason.
Yeah.
And what about not also being with your friends all the time? How's that been?
So it's been definitely way more hard, but to be honest, I've been seeing Ella more than I've ever had when we weren't quarantined. Like I see her literally 5 times.
Times a week, yeah.
Literally, we see each other every 2 times a day.
Well, I don't know about that, but but also I want to make it a point that you're seeing each other social distancing.
Yeah.
So that's really important too. Yeah, you know, it's important to still see people, right, and talk to them, but it's really important to still keep social distance.
Like we have fun still. Like we went to a park and we took like photo shoots,
Uh-huh.
social distancing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun.
Okay. And again, not everybody's able to do that, right? Because some people
Yeah.
like live far away from each other and other things. But and I think also so just talking more about loss, right? I know that both of you are at a certain time, right, where a lot of people are having very milestone birthdays, like for bat mitzvah and other things. So Cora, I know yours is coming obviously up in October, and Ella, you know, I have to say that this is the weekend that was supposed to be, yeah, your bat mitzvah,
Yeah.
your party, right? So I wanted to hear if it's okay, and if you're
Yeah,
okay
of
talking
course.
about it, you know, and I just also want to say that Ella's parents and Ella did a drive-by with an RV and had a nice, like, right, had balloons and a
Really
celebration.
fun. It was fun.
What'd you say?
It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, yeah. So you kind of made the most out of it, which is amazing, right? But I also wanted to hear, you know, especially because it's this weekend, and I have to say that, you know, it's hard. You know, it's hard, and I my heart goes out to you because, you know, there's when you miss something that you expect,
Yeah.
you know, it's really sometimes hard to deal with that, even though you're doing something else, but you could still kind of acknowledge, you know, the loss, right, that you have. So did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, well, I think that my hands are getting sweaty. I think that yes, it was a huge milestone for every girl to accomplish, but my uncle actually had the same like problem. Like his grandfather passed away the day of his bar mitzvah. So
Mm,
yes, it can like things happen, and I'm hoping, God willing, that we will have another time to celebrate. I'm
mm-hmm,
sure my family will do something, and yes, it's hard, and it's not fun to be in the situation that we're in,
mm-hmm,
especially if you're sick or a loved one is sick.
mm-hmm.
But I feel that it will get better, and I'm looking forward to celebrating because I know that I have a lot of people who love me, and I know that we will celebrate because they love me and they care about me. So another big thing is,
And by the way, Ella, that's an incredible way of looking at it, right? Like you will always be remembered. It doesn't matter when it is, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
another big thing is my family lives in Australia. Like right now, I would be with them right now, like
Mm,
getting ready for my big day, and it's really really hard because I have a newborn cousin and stuff.
mm,
My grandma is getting old, like my great grandma's getting old. I've missed a lot lately in Australia, and I just really want to be with them because, like, I don't know, I just feel a special connection with them that I don't feel with anybody else because they live the most far away. Like,
mm-hmm.
people who live the most far away, I don't know why, you just feel like a special connection with them because you know that you don't get to see them often.
Yeah.
And that when you get to see them, it like lights up your whole day. And like,
Yeah, it's the same with me and my cousins and
yeah.
my
Mhm.
grandparents.
So,
Yeah.
like, I just want to say, like, if anything, like, has ever happened to anybody like that, just remember like it's gonna be okay, and that just look on the bright side.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
that's such a good positive way of looking at it,
That really
right?
moved me.
It did, Cora? It moved me
Yeah.
too,
I'm so proud
Ella.
of
Yeah,
myself.
we're very moved by you right now.
I'm so proud.
You should be. And by the way, I just have to say that we love you.
Yeah.
And yes, and that no matter when it is, we will be there.
I
We
know.
will be there like rah-rahing and giving you the biggest, warmest hug. So you don't have to worry about that.
Me and
What?
Ella were on the phone the other day when we were both upset, and I said, even though I'm not physically with you, I'm always with you in your heart.
I
That's
remember
true.
the exact words.
That's true. Yeah. So, yes, you are very right. There's a lot of people out there who love you and who are thinking about you, especially now, right? And Cora, I know your bat mitzvah was supposed to be in October, right?
Yeah, but my birthday is in a month or 2 months.
Yeah, in July,
Yeah.
right? So, and I know it's been a little hard to prepare for it because sometimes there's this concern like, oh, I don't think it's going to even happen. What's the point? You know, why should I bother putting
I
kind of
don't
time
even,
and energy?
yeah, I
So,
don't.
how are you thinking about it for yourself?
Well, definitely, I'm trying to look on the bright side. If it does or doesn't happen, I'm trying to think positive. But
Uh-huh.
sometimes I could think negative because, like, I don't want to be too greedy because I know people are really suffering in the world. And to just say, like, no, I really want a birthday, I shouldn't really, I'd be thinking of that. I should be thinking of what's happening, like, to everyone and how everyone else is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it just, yeah.
Yeah. So, you brought up a really good point, by the way, both of you, is that sometimes we feel a little guilty over our feelings,
Yeah.
right? And we said we shouldn't be thinking this way. We shouldn't be feeling this way. People are like having a worse time, or some people are suffering, right? But you know what? Everybody has their own individual experience, right?
Exactly. Like everybody goes through different things. Everybody is a different person. Everybody has a different soul. Everybody has a different heart. So
That's
they
right.
feel different. Like
Mm-hmm.
me and Cora, like technically are the same person, but in
Yeah.
ways, we think like if I was thinking something, she wouldn't think the same thing. Like we
That's
all
true.
have feelings.
That's true. So what I'm going to say about that, and I tell Cora this all the time, right? That it's okay. And this is what's so hard sometimes when we have kind of negative and positive feelings, it's hard to have them both, right? Because we want to just have like positive, right?
Yeah, that's why
So
like little guy on your shoulder, like there's the
yes.
guy, and then there's the like blue guy saying, do it," and then like there's the angry guy saying, "No, just be sad."
Yeah, that's right. So you know what I'm going to say to both of you? That it's okay to have both sets of feelings. Like it's okay to be sad about what's going on in the world and people suffering, because
Great.
that means you're both very kind, compassionate young girls, right? And then it's also to be really sad or disappointed by your own experiences too. It doesn't have to be one or the other, and that there could be space for both, because both of you deserve that and everyone does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one more thing is, a lot of people now, because the summer's coming up, are talking about camp.
Yeah.
And, right now, as we speak, Cora's camp was not closed, right? We're still waiting for a response of whether she's going to have camp or not. But Ella, another loss that you also experienced is the loss of camp, because they already told you that they're not going to be opening up this summer. And we're kind of thinking that our camp probably won't either. We're not sure, but it's kind of
Yeah.
leaning in that direction. So I wanted to ask both of you about that, like how you're feeling about it and what your thoughts are about, camp and this summer coming up.
So I definitely feel like another loss is coming my way. I knew it because my mom was sitting in this chair. I was on my bed, and I was on speaker. Like I didn't know, like it shouldn't be on speaker. My mom didn't know either. And I heard my dad say like, "Hey, I just got an email from camp," and he didn't say what. He just like hung up the phone. So I ran downstairs crying, and I'm like, "Dad, is camp canceled?" And he sat with me and he was like, "Yes, camp canceled." And I felt like a moment of like devastation
Mm,
because I know that I'm not going to Australia this year, not gonna go to camp, and I'm not gonna have my bat mitzvah. So it's like another thing that I have to worry about having extra feelings for.
yeah, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot of things, right? Yeah, and it's hard because that's so many, like it's a couple of things, right? Not just one.
Hmm.
Yeah. And and Cora, what about you? you know, because I know you're kind of expecting that email that Ella got, right?
Yeah, well, technically, I really wish, because some people at my camp, they're like my family, and we all have like, we spend time together, and by the end of camp, we always start crying because we don't want to go, and then at the beginning, we start crying because we want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, because like we're homesick, but then we want to stay at our second home.
Mm. Yeah. And that's why it's such a big loss, right? Because like you said, you're referring to it as a second home,
Mm-hmm.
right? You feel so connected to that. And you know, the other thing too, what's so special about camp is you really, you know, you get to see sometimes, you know, the kids like during the year, but it's like at a time that you're with each other 24/7, right? It's a special time.
Sleep with them, you eat with them. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. You eat with them, you sleep with them, you do activities with them, like everything you go through with them. So, is there anything else before we get off that you want to share that actually to think about what you could share with the audience that could be helpful for them or kids your age that are going through loss and changes? Any words of advice or feedback that you want to give to them that could be helpful, or even to parents so parents could help their kids going through loss. What anything?
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with kids. I think that for kids, school is a very like loss because like yes, my sister was going on TEBA this year. She had the Shakespeare play, moving up ceremony, a bunch of stuff that she would miss. She might not even go into sixth grade, like the upper school. So like for advice for kids, it's just to keep your head up high and just like think about all the things you're grateful for. Like I was on the phone with my cousin the other day, and then she was like, "Okay, write down 5 things that you're grateful for that are really meaningful." And she said, "Okay, now write down 5 things that you're grateful for that are really simple." So I said, like my charger or my swing in my room or something simple that you're just grateful for.
Hmm.
I think that's a really good thing just to like sit down sometimes and just have a moment of self time and just say like, okay, so this is my time, nothing's gonna interrupt. I'm gonna write down a few things. You can journal. I think journaling is a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Write down your feelings and stuff. And my advice for parents is to like make your kids comfortable and make them feel like you understand them, because kids like in order for them to thrive they need to be understood so that they can thrive even more.
I love that, Ella. Right on.
Yeah.
And Cora, any advice for kids and any advice for parents that you want to share?
I think kids, just to look on the bright side, like don't ever doubt yourself. If
Mhm.
something like a birthday or something is going to come up, you still get to celebrate it. Maybe not with everyone, but they're still always in your heart. Yeah.
And I think, which is so great that you're saying also, is to be creative. Like
Yeah.
if it's not that specific way,
Mhm.
like what you did, right, Ella, that you could find creative ways to still celebrate yourself, right? That's
Like my family put together this big birthday. I loved it. It was probably one of my most memorable birthdays because
great.
we went in an RV around to my friends' houses, and then we turned on Chorus Street, and my parents blindfolded me. I'm like, "Are we going to Chorus?" And they go, "No." So they kept turning to make me confused. When we got there, I felt like a moment of joy just splash in my face.
Oh,
Aw.
that's great. And Cora, any advice? I like that you should still, and any advice for parents?
Well, the same as Ella, to like notice how your kids are feeling and to acknowledge their feelings and to like listen and be there for them.
I love that too. So I'm going to add one more thing to that, okay? And then we're going to end. But so, you know, parents sometimes the question is, how do you understand your kids or how do you validate their feelings, right?
So my mom,
So, you know how I said before to like be okay with whatever they're feeling, right? To try not to talk them out of their feelings. Like, right? Not to say, oh, but what about this? Or you should be grateful for this. Or, you know, it's going to be okay. Or you'll get to celebrate it next year, right? Or whatever, right? To really just hear them out.
and listen.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and to acknowledge the loss, right? And to allow them to have negative feelings because it's very, very normal and human to have negative feelings and to just hear them out, right? And you can like you said, ask like, what are you grateful for? Or how can we do this differently? And all those questions. But before you get into that, you really want to acknowledge and validate all the feelings. Okay. And then, like you said, to be there for your kids, right? So what does that mean? Being there could mean even just sitting next to them or holding them, right? It could be, you know, spending time playing a board game or whatever, you know, doing something that allows them to feel like you're actually interested in them, right?
We have like I said this is my Mother's Day card. It's a quote. I'm not exactly sure who. Well,
Okay.
I think it's a quote at least.
Yeah.
But it was like something, dear mom, you are my greatest teacher and cheapest therapist. So it was really nice. Well, you're a therapist, Michelle, so
Yes.
Yeah.
but like that kind of made me think deeper. Like just saying things, you don't
Mhm.
have to think deep into saying things. Like, and it's like a simple question can just turn into something really, really deep. So I think that that personally means like your mom and your everybody that loves you is always there. Like you can just go to them whenever.
That's a
Mhm.
great point. That's a great
Yeah.
point. You know, and the other thing too is not everyone has somebody there for them to love them, right? There are some people who don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for kids like that, you know, or people who are in that position, Cora, I'm gonna take what you said is to really have self-love, right? And we all need self-love anyway, no matter what.
Yeah.
But and to seek it out because there is support out there, you know, if you look for it, you know, even by organizations or like community-based kind of things too. Okay. So both of you, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom.
Of course.
And I so appreciate that what you had to offer because this is going to be so helpful to other kids.
I hope so.
So thank you so much. Okay. Okay. I'm going to stop right now. Okay.